But I never get what I want. How can the law of attraction be real? I hear this so many times in people that either don't believe in manifestation or are trying to manifest things, but they feel like every time they really want something, it never comes to them. And if anything, they get the opposite from what they want. This is because manifestation is not about wanting and desiring. It is about identifying with it. And with the identification, there is a certain level of detachment from your desires. And this is a very complicated frequency. What does it mean to be detached? Because being detached is the only way your desires can come in. Detachment is about receiving. In this video, I want to explain to you what the frequency of detachment feels like so that you can get a gist of it, and then actually give you some practical tips of how you can get detached and what mind shifts you need to get there. My name is Davy. I am a PhD student in chemical engineering at the University of Cambridge. In my free time, I love to study things about the law of attraction, self-development. I'm also a personal life coach, and I've launched my very own manifestation course if you need my personal guidance in manifesting things. Now let's talk about detachment. One of the most important yet difficult topics in manifestation, because detachment is about entering the receiving energy. And only when we are in the receiving energy, we can manifest and things can actually come to us. Now, this has also to do with the complaint that I hear a lot from people that either don't believe in manifestation at all or don't believe in the law of attraction, because they're like, well, in the past, there were these things that I really wanted and they never came to me. So, the law of attraction can't be real. So let me explain to you. First of all, what the feeling of detachment feels like, and then I'll give you some mind shifts that can help you to get detached. To explain detachment, I want to make a very clear distinction between the desiring frequency, which is wanting things, and the identifying with your desires. The desiring frequency is when you're still attached. Identifying with frequency is when you're detached. So if you haven't watched my video on identity shifting yet, you'll learn a little bit more about what I mean with identifying with the desire, right? We know that in manifestation, we're not trying to call things into our life from a craving frequency or from a desiring frequency. We actually embody the frequency of our desires. We already have it. We manifest and script and write about our desires in the present moment because we identify with the person that could have the desire. Manifestation is never about the desire. It is always about becoming the person that could have the desire. And that is what I mean with identifying with. Now, going back to the distinction that I made. So the desiring frequency, when you're still too attached, is a very needy frequency. You need your desires in order to be happy. You crave your desires. You even feel a level of frustration with your current life circumstances because you're like, I need that desire in order to be happy. So I'm upset with my current life circumstances because my desire is not here yet. It is a desperate energy. And as long as you crave and desire your desires, it is a bit contradicting, the word desires, but that's the name I'm using for the thing you're trying to manifest, right? But if you still feel like you need your desire and you're craving it, then you're still in an attached frequency. How to get to detached, I'll talk about a little bit more later. But now let's first talk about what the detached frequency feels like. In the detached frequency, you identify with your desire. You already have your desire in your head. So you're not too attached to whatever is happening in your current life or whatever the current physical reality is reflecting back to you. You know your desire will come to you. So you are detached. You feel confident, right? You also feel excited because you know your desire is going to come to you eventually. So you don't feel needy and lacking, and you know your desire already exists in your head anyway. So you don't feel this attachment to it actually needing to come into your physical reality for you to be happy. You can already be happy now, just the thought of having your desire, because you know it will happen. You know it will come to you, right? You have faith, detached. Actually, the real word for it is faith, because you just have faith in a future outcome that isn't here yet in a current physical reality, but that makes you detached because you have this faith. Now, a great tool to get into this detached frequency, which is related to feeling detached, is grateful. You're just gonna be grateful for your current life circumstances. That makes you detached. So now I hope you have a little bit of an overview of the frequency of detachment. Let me give you some mind shifts and prompts that you can use to get detached. First important thing with detachment is that you're not attached to the current results. You're not attached to the current physical reality. And what I mean by that is that you don't keep looking at the current results in order to confirm to you that your desires will come to you, right? And this is our ego. This is our egoic brain that wants that safety and security. It's like, we have these desires that we're trying to manifest, but we already want to see some evidence in the present moment. We want proof. We want proof that our desires are going to come to us. And sometimes we get that through synchronicities and signs, but that is all we get. The rest requires faith, right? Now, let's say, for example, if you're manifesting money, you shouldn't keep looking at your current bank statement that is going to remind you of that old identity, right? You're too attached to the present moment results. This is a little bit about ignoring the present moment and ignoring the lack of your desire. Consciously decide to ignore it because it's not the frequency I want to be on, and it's not going to be my reality in the very near future anyway. So let me just ignore that. Let me not give that any energy. Second thing, to stay detached. Don't keep on wondering when your desire is going to come in. If you are stuck in this frequency and you keep wondering, but when will it happen? When will it happen? You're not truly identifying with your desire. Because if you're identifying with your desire, it has already happened in your head, right? You can already in your head tap into the happy frequency of having it through visualization or through scripting. So you're not too attached to when, because it already exists in your head. You are in the present moment already a person that feels like they have the desire now. So again, I mean, I keep using money. It's just an easy example, right? But if it is about a certain amount of money in your bank account, you identify and walk around right now in the present moment with that number on your bank account. You just identify with it like, I have that now. And in your head, you already have it in the present moment. So that moves you away from the question, when will it happen? Because we want to move towards, it has already happened. It has already happened. I can feel it. I can feel and I identify with having the desire already. And time is not even linear. Time is just a mental construct. We can tune into future timelines through our frequency. So if you can feel like you already have the desire in the present moment, there is a timeline where you already have it. And it will come to you incredibly quick and soon, the better you are in keeping that frequency alive in you. But just note that every time you wonder when, you're like, no, there is no when. It is already here. It is here now. Like, I'm feeling it. I'm embodying it. I'm walking around like I have it. I don't need the when. I don't need the physical evidence in my reality to prove it back to me. It is already mine. Thirdly, to get to this detachment is being grateful for the present moment. Now, because once you start to embody gratefulness for the present moment and the current life circumstances, the attachment to needing the desire in the future to be happy decreases inevitably and immediately. So it is like you're balancing the happiness of the future and the present moment. And instead of it feeling like an uphill run towards your desire, like now I'm unhappy and my desire is in this higher happy frequency, you see there is like a slope that you need to run uphill. Now the only way to make this an equal race is once you start to be grateful for the present moment. In that case, you also embody a happy frequency in the present moment, and you align to the happy frequency in the future of having your desire. And that is how you reach detachment. But we cannot put our happiness on some future event. So we also need to be grateful for the present moment and never think that being grateful for the present moment is settling. So, let's say you want to manifest a bigger house. Being grateful for your current smaller house is not going to stop the bigger house from coming in. actually you'll be rewarded. The more grateful you are for the lack of your desire or the small house that you live in, the quicker the manifestation or the bigger house can come to you. Gratefulness is rewarded, right? And then this is all about, it sounds weird, like how can you be grateful for the lack of your desire? But this is all about frequency. This is just a method and a technique to tap into higher frequencies of reality, to feel happier, right? To increase our present moment vibration and get into alignment with our desires. So we also need to keep reintroducing practices of gratefulness. At the end of the day, perhaps journaling about everything that we appreciate in our current life, in ourselves or the family and friends that we have, even if it is unrelated to your desire. What do you feel gratitude for? What do you feel bliss for in the present moment? That is how you get detached from your desires. Fourth thing is, you don't wonder how your desires are going to come to you. Sometimes with some desires, you do have a little bit of a plan, because thinking about the plan can motivate you and make you feel excited, right? Like, let's say you already started your business and you know how you're going to make money. You can visualize the how a little bit. There are people that still comment, oh, to make this amount of money, I probably have to win the lottery. No, you don't. You don't even know the millions and millions of ways money can come to you. And it is not about winning the lottery. Then in that case, you're focusing on the how. You're closing all the other doors and you are requiring one specific way for your desire to come in. But then you're putting up a lot of resistance and you're closing the doors to a lot of other opportunities that desire might be able to come to you. So that is why we don't focus on the how, because we actually don't have any clue what possibilities are out there and how many different ways our desires can come to us. So when we focus on the how, we limit ourselves to one possibility and one path, when maybe there are a million paths. So in manifestation and visualization and scripting, we only focus on already having it. How does that feel? Identifying with our desires, right? How does it feel to already have our desires now in the present moment? In that case, there is no need to worry about the how, right? Because the how often invokes stress as well. It's like, okay, but how will it happen? It is a proof of disbelief and lack of faith. But we're trying to move away from that frequency. We're trying to go back to, no. What does it feel like to have my desires in the present moment? What does it feel like to identify with a person and walk around during the day as a person that already has my desires? Fifth thing is, you stay detached from your current physical reality. I already mentioned something similar in the first point when I said you don't focus on your current results, but this goes a level deeper. What I want to say here. What I want you to understand is, in manifestation and in visualization and scripting, whatever techniques you use, you create this new reality in your mind. If you can hold it in a mind, there is a reality of you having that. So you tune into that reality and you visualize or script about already having your desires. So then you give birth to that frequency or give birth to that reality. Now, when you go back to your normal life again, and out of the visualization or scripting, your external life and your external circumstances and your external world is going to do everything in its power to suck you back in to that frequency, right? So maybe we have a negative interaction on the street and that irritates us, puts us back in a lower frequency. Even though we've just scripted and manifested things and we're happy about that, we go back to normal life and we get sucked back into the lower vibrational frequencies. There's a moment of irritation, or we get another proof of the lack of our desires, or there's something else that frustrates us. You need to imagine that the external world does everything in its power to lure you back in to that frequency. Now, if you get tempted to do so and go with that frequency, you become stagnant, because then you will continue in the frequency of the current reality that you're already in. And, in manifestation, we're trying to quantum jump. We're trying to reality shift. We're trying to get to higher levels of reality. And we can't do that if we keep getting back sucked into the present moment frequency, because You are trying to manifest something, you are desiring something new in your life. So the present moment reality currently is of a lower frequency, or at least not the frequency you want to be on, right? Now, understand that the external world is going to try to suck you back into that frequency, but you want to move away from that. And the only way to move away from that is by being detached from your current life circumstances. If things happen that frustrate you, or if you see lack of your desire again, or other sort of negative emotions, you stay detached. You stop caring as much. And how do you do that? Well, in your head, you just go back to your visualization or your desired reality. That is the frequency I want to be on. And whenever something happens in the external, you go back to your desired frequency in your head. You already have your desire in your head, and it can be very tempting to get sucked back into the present moment. And that's why I always say you need a daily moment with yourself to check back in. Whether it is journaling, whether it is meditation, whether it is yoga, or whether it is all three. I personally do all three. But you need that moment to detach from the external world, go back within and reshift your focus on your desires and goals and where you want to go, and tap back into that frequency of, okay, what does it feel like to have my desires? And if you don't do this on a daily basis, that frequency gets lost. Sixth and final tip, probably the most important one. When you're not detached, you are needy, right? And really wanting your desires. How do you get out of that? How do you stop wanting your desires, right? Now, this is the thing you should do. Reshift your focus from your desires back to yourself, back to becoming the best version of yourself possible. In terms of, I always say the same things, but in terms of exercise and nutrition, in terms of practices, meditation, journaling and yoga, in terms of self-care, in terms of how you treat yourself, in terms of how much movement you get, focus your energy on becoming the best version of yourself possible. That is how you get detached from your desires truly. And that is also how you create worthiness for your desires. Because a lot of you can't get detached or can't get out of the needing, lacking frequency because you think you need that desire in order to be happy, instead of trying to make yourself happy first in the present moment. You need to make yourself first happy in order to get to that higher happy frequency, in order to align with your desires. And if you just keep desiring and craving and fantasizing about your desires in a very needy way, you're doing nothing in the present moment to make yourself feel worthy, right? So when you do all of these self-care and self-love things and you become the best version of you, you will feel way more confident and worthy of your desires. At that point, you're like, well, I deserve to have my desires. Of course they will come to me. Of course my desires will come to me. Look how well I have my life in order. You know, I'm that girl or I'm that boy or man, right? You live according to the best possible version that you could be. And when you do that, you will be detached from your desires because you're only attached to yourself and taking care of yourself. And from that frequency, you align to your desires, but also feel like, you know, of course my desires will come to me. Look what a great version of myself I currently am. I feel worthy of my desires. Now, in my videos, I can only provide so much value, but I really want to help you one-on-one on a day-to-day basis in a period of 5 weeks in order to identity shift in the highest version of you. And I can do that through my manifestation course, Mastering the Science of Manifesting. Now, if you feel like you've tried all the techniques, or if you want to know more about what it actually takes on a day-to-day basis, so what journaling to do, what practices to do, what thing to focus on in terms of self-development, to get to manifesting your desires, I want to help you in a period of 5 weeks. This is the scientifically proven time we need in order to actually make some fundamental changes in your personality and the way you view yourself. And in the course, we have different themes each week. We work on thought frequencies. 1 week we work on the self-concept. We work on the ego and past trauma and releasing those lower vibrational frequencies. And then in week 4 and 5, we focus on the actual, scripting and visualizing techniques. and in week 5 doing the final identity shift. Results have been amazing. People have been loving the course. It is my aim with the course to help you on a day-to-day basis, really guide you on making the right changes in your life that you need in order to become a better version of you and finally step into your highest self, the one that is in alignment with all their desires. Link is in the description if you want to sign up to my course. I would love to see you on. Now, thank you so much for listening. If you made it up until here, these are the true ones, right? That stick until the end. Definitely leave me a like if you found this video useful, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that. And also follow me on Instagram, which is davy_citram. And I would love to see you in my next video. Sending you my love.